Good morning, everybody. How are we?
Good. How's it going?
Morena.
Good.
Oh, it's good, thank you, my friend. It's good, thank you. You're looking particularly
Good
fancy.
to see you.
Thank you.
Uh, Wow. So that halo behind you, what's going on with that, my friend?
yeah, that's the lighting in here. It's just yeah, none of that. That's all right.
You're looking good anyway, my friend. Ata Maria, everyone. Good morning. Good to have you joining us live here with Where's God on Mondays, our morning show, our Monday morning show, reminding us to look for God in the small things, to look for God every day, that our God is not stuck in the Sunday morning church, that our God is active every day, that our God is the same yesterday as he is today, the same as he is tomorrow. Our God is greater. So good morning. Hey, this morning we have finally figured out how to do live chat. So if you are joining us live on Facebook or on YouTube, we want to encourage you this morning. Join with us in the banter. Join with us in the tips. Join with us in whatever it is we are talking about. We want you to be a part of Monday mornings here this morning. So please type it away and it'll pop up and we'll get to communicate and hear from you. And we want to hear your stories. We want to hear what you've been up to this week. So everybody, kia ora, Ruben, Dee, Bianca, what has been your highlight this week? What's been going on?
Highlight for this week.
Bianca.
Yesterday, actually, we went for a walk, and then I saw like 1 million people from church, so that was kind of cool. And then we went and had an ice cream. So I tried the new peanut slab ice cream, which was pretty good. So that was like my highlight. You know, I had to go and buy an essential from the dairy ice cream.
Yeah.
Stevie.
Well,
is that in like a bar?
Yeah, it's like a bar, and it's got chocolate ice cream inside with peanuts. It could have used like some kind of caramel swirl or something in there, but personally, I like the Twix ice cream bar better. Do we have that in New Zealand? Have you guys tried that one? No, it's just America.
No,
we have
I
Twix
haven't.
ice cream bar, and we have the Snickers ice cream bar. But I would choose the Twix over the peanut slab one. But it was still pretty good. Good job, Whitakers.
Yum.
Snickers ice cream bar does sound good.
Yeah, it is. The ice cream one is really good.
I do have a bunch of frozen Mars bars and Snickers and some Twix in my freezer at home, which is it's my little hideaway. I keep it in my office, my little freezer in my office.
Try a fried
hidden
Mars
from the
bar.
kids.
That's really good.
Yeah, with ice cream.
What's that? What's highlights? What's your highlight, Ruben? I can hear you.
My mum
keen?
dug out some of my old Lego. You know, she's going through the whole house, and it was a bit of a throwback going back and try and put together all the Lego and see what was still there and what was missing. You wouldn't believe how much there goes into it, eh? Like thousands of pieces, man. Like who knows where it all is? It's all mixed up and in different boxes. But that was a bit of a throwback. It was pretty fun playing with all that again.
We've got the Lego out in our house at the moment, and I'll be honest, I spend more time than the boys.
Yeah,
do.
It's a really good board and buster, eh? It's good, man. I love it.
No, that's kind of cool.
What's,
We had a
Time picking
challenge.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had a
picking up,
challenge for
standing on it.
Picking it up, not playing with it.
We had a challenge.
What's
for
your highlight,
kids
Bianca?
to make.
Well,
Alright.
after months of hardly having any rain, we finally got a decent amount to top up our tank. But last night, as I was reading, I heard this dramatic exit out of the house. And a flustered Billy came in saying accidentally he left the tap running for 3 hours while filling up the water tank for the cows. So a wonderful highlight for the week, and then it ended up in a bit of a disaster, but luckily it rained enough for us to have a decent amount.
Oh, cool.
Okay, Dee, I cut you off very rudely. What were you saying? What was the challenge?
No, what Ruben was talking about the Legos. So we had a challenge for OB kids to build a marble run or a ball run, and so Rhodey and Miette, they actually built their marble run out of Lego. So it had like towers and had like a little, ramp along. And their mom said that it took them almost a whole week to make their little marble run out of Lego. So that was kind of cool, though. So you can
That
do that,
is-
Wow.
Ruben, with your Legos.
Sorry?
Make a marble one. You can make a
Yeah,
marble
that'd
run
be-
out of Legos.
Dude, I did used to have a sick marble run. That thing was fun. I'm going to dig that one out next. That's good idea, dude. I used to have a good one. That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, just a reminder, everyone, feel free, let us know what your highlight is in the chat. Let us know so we can share it with everyone. What your highlights of your week's been. Bianca, we're moving on to kids at home. You've already mentioned some highlights happening at your place, but tell us, how are you surviving with the kids?
All right, this week we came across another fun activity which the kids loved. Have a look at this video.
3, 2, 1, church friends! Today we are going to make a rocket out of a tea bag. So all you need is a tea bag with a string and scissors. So you cut the tea bag where the string attaches to the bag. This. And you open it up, dispose the tea inside it, and you form a cylinder. And then you need a lighter. And now we're going to light this up, but we need a countdown for it as well. Okay, so we'll light it up. Now, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
Wowzers.
Oh, so cute.
That was fun.
I remember doing
kids
that
love
in science class at school. Was that baking paper? I missed the start. Was that baking paper?
So, no, sorry, it was a tea bag. It's one of those tea bags with the
Oh, the
string
whole thing
attached
was
to
a
it.
tea bag. Oh, wowzers.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
you just cut the string off, and that makes this little tube thing. My sister, older sister, is a science teacher, and she has all the tricks of the trades. She's really good at it. So it was actually her idea. Yeah.
I like Indy's
but yeah,
mimicking you
and-
in the background. Very little. And now cut it up,
Yeah,
cut it up.
Yeah, well,
cute.
if your kids aren't impressed by tea bags turning into rockets, you can put your dignity aside for a moment and give your kids free reign on your makeup and your face, as seen in this photo. And actually, this made it a fun activity, and the kids actually enjoyed it a lot. And it took longer than I thought it would. So yeah, just a time killer if you are wanting to do something with your kids.
I see Anna online saying that she wants to try that, or she's got to try that,
Oh,
which is
good.
which is
Should,
good
Anna.
because she's got a what 19 or 20-year-old son. I don't know
Wait,
if that's a
who's doing
smart
whose
idea.
makeup here? Who's doing whose makeup? Huh? What? I'm confused. I don't know what she's thinking there.
You could do with a makeover, couldn't you, bro? You let your mum go wild.
I'll let her know that you said I was actually looking quite good today, so maybe we'll pass on that one today.
The halo behind you does make you look particularly angelic, my friend. You're always looking good.
Thank you.
Hey, we just want to encourage you, church, with some of what's been going on in the life of our church over this week. We started a new series. Mark kicked off a new series for us with the church at home, the homegrown series. I knew that. The homegrown series that he kicked off, where we're focusing on reading, on praying, and serving, even in the situation that we find ourselves, even in our current context and our current circumstances. You guys, has there been, and to the Facebook and YouTube world out there, has there been something in the week one that has resonated with you? Has there been something that's really hit home, or maybe even a worship song that's really hit? Don't all speak at once.
Yeah, I think for us, while we were listening to it last night, we were just reminded of where our foundation is, and our foundation needs to be on God, and especially going through a time of, a little bit of craziness and with the business as well. We just kind of realized that you can you have to hold on to God, and I think Mark explained it really well, especially if if you have struggles, whether it's personal struggles or business struggles, that you have to have that foundation on God, and He will give you the peace, and yeah, you'll find that true peace from Him.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that we're all reading together.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I like that. That is
No,
kind of
that
cool
is.
that we're all have, like all on the same reading plan and just kind of going through together. And it feels kind of cool that we're all doing it together.
Yeah, and crossing the generational barriers and discussing and sharing and praying for and serving as a community, as a congregation. And again, not just on Sundays, but throughout the week. I love that Mark's challenging us to read a reading plan, which encourages us to get out of the whole God on Sundays thing and think about Him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I really enjoy that. I love the fact that we talked about fullness that comes in Christ and rejoicing and what that means. And for us at the youth group, we're coincidentally going through a very similar series about God transforming our mind and being joyous, even in these times which aren't so easy to be joyous. But it's really encouraging. And one of the challenges that we've been doing and some of the young adults have been doing is we have these. Well, I've been wearing wristbands, and they've been doing different things as well. And we've been connecting with one another at the end of each day, saying how many times did we have a sort of a negative thought, but then we sought God to transform our mind that we might be joyous, which is really cool. And then we'd talk about it at the end of the day and go, how many times has it hit us? And we've prayed about that and allowed God to transform the way we think. So yeah, that's me. It's my little bit from the weekend. We got some birthdays this week, which is really cool. Happy birthday to the Skinner Brown household, all the ladies, Hattie B, Tracy. Happy birthday this week. Peter Skidder, he got 1 year older this week, as did Brian Lloyd, 91. What an innings.
Wow.
Happy birthday to you all. If you know someone that needs to be dobbed in for their birthday or their anniversary, please let us know. But that's really exciting, just to be able to share those birthdays and that life of the church with you. Dee, do you want to tell us about the Browns and what's been happening with Dahlia Farms there?
Yeah, I was on Facebook last night, and somebody had kind of taken a photo of their. Last week we talked about the flowers that arrangements that they've done on their side of their house, and so they did one, and it was the picture of New Zealand. I'm gonna try to show you on here. It's not gonna look very good, but somebody found it, posted a photo of it on the Hibiscus Coast group, and they are up to 1,000 likes. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow, awesome.
1,000
likes for those guys, which is pretty cool.
If
so
I get
they're
3
spreading.
likes for a photo.
I know. So they're spreading lots of joy around with their flowers, and it's beautiful. But I thought it was pretty cool. Last night they were up to like 300 likes, and now they're at 1,000 this morning. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really cool. Really cool little blessing. And knowing it's coming from people within our church, blessing our community, and the essential workers and everyone as they go to and from. That's huge. Sweet. So this week, we've just been through week 3. I think we are day 26 of the level 4 lockdown. And one of the things that's been talked about a lot as we journeyed through week 3, that week 3 was potentially going to be the hardest or one of the hardest weeks for everyone in terms of our mental health. And it could be quite sobering and potentially really tough on people. And I know for myself that has been true, that week 3 of the lockdown was the hardest. The kids were certainly a little bit harder than they have been. The 4 walls seemed a lot closer than they have been, even out on the farm. And it has been a lot harder. But I think one of the things we don't think about with mental health as kids. So Dee, I want to throw it over to you. Do you want to take us through what mental health can look like in the family?
We
and through a time like this.
I kind of noticed that that things got a little bit tougher in week 3, and I didn't really know Okay, well, I'm a know-it-all, and my parents will love to tell you that I am a know-it-all. I grew up as a know-it-all, and they've had so much fun raising me, and they're gonna love this show. But so my dad is like a professional rugby league player. So he played for the Kiwis and a team in Australia and England, and so he's all about sports and all about coaching and stuff. So when he finished playing league, he was in different kinds of jobs that have to do with coaching or juveniles that are kind of lost and bringing them back and stuff, and worked with the ex-convicts. So he's always like weaved coaching back into there. And so for me, growing up, my dad would always try to coach me, whether I wanted it or not. But he's a professional player, so like I got a position on the touch team, and he's like showing me how to pass the ball properly and what I should do and do this and do that. And in my head, I didn't say it in my head. I said it out loud. I'm like, I know, Dad, I know. So it's funny with know-it-alls. They know everything until they don't. So I'm like, I know. And then I try to do it, and then I don't know. So then I have to go back and go, can you show me, Dad, again? So that's kind of where I am at as a know-it-all. So I knew about children's mental health. And Bianca, as you know, when you have your first child, Jordan probably too, when you have your first child, you kind of read all the books so you know what to do when your child doesn't sleep and what to do when, all these different things. And people have all these tips. And so you read all these books and you go online, get all these resources for your child before you have your first one. And then you're like, I know it. I know what's going to happen. And I know I need to do this when this happens. I need to do this. And then the baby comes and you're like, I don't know anything. What do I do? So when my girls started growing older, I kind of read and I knew about children's mental health, but I didn't really think it was that big of a deal until kind of these last few weeks. So I kind of knew, but didn't know. And you just kind of notice there is a huge change in their behavior. And there would just be little things that would kind of set them off, and they would just fall into a puddle on the floor crying. And you're like, what? Nothing has really changed. And then it finally clicked in my head that they're going through a lot of stuff, and they don't know how to process. They have all these emotions going on, and they don't know how to process it. And so it's coming out in all these different ways of aggression towards each other, or irritating each other, or just screaming really loud, or just being because they don't know how to process their emotions. Which for me, inside, I want to like fall in a bubble and to just fall in a puddle on the floor and just be like, oh, I don't want to do this, or but I can hold myself together and not do that. But for kids, they don't know how to do that. And so I've just noticed that in the last week, just how much children's emotions, how real they are. Because I think before you kind of look and you're like, oh, you're 5. What could you possibly be feeling other than happiness? Because you don't have to pay bills. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to do all this other stuff. But, their whole lives are changing. They don't have their structure of going to school and seeing all their friends and playing and, doing all their little stations in their classroom. And so they don't have that anymore. And to them, their whole world is actually changed, and they don't know how to process it. And so it's been a journey for us, as I'm sure with you guys as well, with your kids, just trying to figure out how to, deal with their emotions, because it's hard. And you're trying to deal with your own emotions of this whole lockdown and being together. So it's just something that was brought to my attention, and that their health is really real. Mental health is really real. And there is a lot of things that we can do to try to help them. But yeah, I'm no mental health expert, but this is just what I've noticed over the last week, and making sure that we validate their emotions that they're going through and what they're going through. And it's not just, oh, you're 5, you're 7, you can't be feeling anything, but they are, and it is really real. But I just
totally,
I'm glad
totally
you're
agree.
saying that. Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because I actually thought, especially this one child of mine, she's very attached to me, and she's always been. And I thought this would be the perfect situation for her, because she'll have me 24/7, 7 days a week. She's not going to preschool anymore. And it's almost like she's playing up a little bit more. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm here. I'm sitting with them. I give them a lot of attention. I don't have a work. My work is the children, and still it's hard. And I just I don't have the answers, like you said. I don't. I read things and I try things, and sometimes it works, and other times it doesn't work. So yeah, it's definitely yeah. Like I said, I'm glad you're touching on this, and it's not just my children. And that
No, I
everyone
think
is
it's
going through the same thing.
I think it's all children
Yeah, I think
everywhere, and it's just and they don't know how to do any. It's just like, I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on, and they don't know how to like. It's just like coming out in all this like bad behavior, and and
Yeah.
or not bad, but maybe just like abnormal for them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you used the word validating, because I think as a parent, it makes me feel a little bit validated when I look at my kids and they're struggling, and they're doing things, and I just think, man, I'm just a terrible parent. And it's just come to it's noticeable now because we're stuck together, that I'm a worse parent than I thought. But actually, that there's kids are struggling, and I'm thinking that I'm a bad parent, but actually it's not that. The kids are struggling, and so we're also validating them and the way they're feeling, and we don't think of that because I have two little boys that are rambunctious, and they're full of life, and they're always up to something, often mischief, which is okay because they're boys. But then when they, the last week especially, where the four walls have obviously come in on them and they haven't got to go in the car for a while and they aren't doing their regular schedule and they haven't seen their kindy teacher and they haven't got to see Nan and Papa for a while. And there's all these things that I don't even think of, because I'm too worried about that. It's my parenting and it's me. And
Yeah.
actually, I think you're bang on validating. I feel validated as a parent that I'm not the only one struggling, and I think it reminds me to also validate what my kids are going through, that they're feeling things and that they just don't know how to potentially work through them the way that we might. That it might just come out in a different way, and like you say, it might be a little bit naughty, or it might be just a little unusual from their normal day-to-day life. But it can be hard, especially the sixth time after cleaning up all the firewood in the lounge. It's ended up strewn across the room, and you go, "Why do I have to do this again? I vacuumed 3 times yesterday." So all those things, which is. Thank you, Dee. I think that's huge and really cool to talk about these things, but also, we do acknowledge that we aren't experts. We're often just parents going through this stuff.
what I found is that like when the girls talk to my mom and dad, that helps them a lot. Just another face and just another person to talk to when we go on our walks and we see people from the church. And if you see us, say hi to our girls. They are not the most, not the greatest at conversation, but when we leave, they're always like, "Oh, I remember them from church," and they'll talk about whoever it was that we saw. And so even though if you're out on your walks and you see somebody from the church, even any other kid, just say hi or wave, and it will actually brighten their day because there's somebody else outside of their bubble that is kind of like speaking into their lives and just saying hi and acknowledging them, which I found is kind of cool. And so that was one thing that we do is we make sure that we FaceTime with my parents a lot, and we actually did a group workout with our family last week. But that was good for them to see their cousins and stuff. And it's good seeing other faces and making sure that, even if you're out on your walks, if you don't have grandchildren, just say hi to the other children or just wave or smile, or it helps the kids to be noticed.
Yeah. It is cool that you mentioned Zoom and Skype and the wonders of technology. And need to do a quick shout out. Hi from Pete Hyam. It's good to hear you all the way from Ghana, joining in with us this morning. Morena Atamari, Pete. And the Hyams, man, it's so good to hear from you guys. I feel like we need to get you guys on the show one week. Also good to hear you bring up the grandparents, because we're in a funny situation right now. And everyone's going to be struggling, and you know, I have the kids to keep me sane or insane, whichever one you want to think of it. But everyone's going to be struggling. There's people within our congregation and within our community that have been living alone this whole time and unable to leave the house and to just get on with regular life. And so talking to grandparents and the role that grandparents and older folk play. You talk about your parents joining in and taking part. Bianca, have you seen similar things?
With children and grandparents.
Yeah, and grandparents and connecting and how that makes them come, you know, what's the reaction like? And
Yeah, absolutely. The children they're still a little bit confused why they can't visit the grandparents. So we do Skype often, and they just love it. And you can see it lifts the little spirits up. They enjoy seeing them, and Billy's parents keep sending these photos through of what they are doing. So over Easter, they had these bunny masks on, and they were sitting there and with only one Easter egg, saying, "Oh, look, we've only got one Easter egg, but when we see you, you know, we'll give you some more Easter eggs and stuff." And so it's something that they can look forward to when they see the grandparents again, which hopefully will be soon. We'll wait for it. But yeah. So it definitely lights up the spirit. And I've read this article where a psychologist wrote lockdown tips for parents, and they said that especially adult children, they really need to see their friends, or they have to have this time and space where they are able to connect with their friends, because it actually still helps with their development. And I think it's just knowing that we are social beings and we still need to be connected even though we are in physical isolation. So yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, my dad calls every day or every other day. And he is quite a quiet, stoic man. But over this time, we've seen a real social need come from him. And his need to connect with the grandkids, which I think it goes, you know, it reminds us that this is a two-way thing, that as much as the grandparents play an important role in the lives of our kids, that our kids and us, we play a huge role in looking after older generations and then after the grandparents as well. And Ruben, I haven't prepared you for this question, but how are you in a smaller bubble than most? There's only two of you in your bubble. How are you guys, and how are you specifically connecting with the outside world and connecting with other people to look after yourself?
Yeah, so Mum and I have a coffee every morning. Mum commented the other day that she's going to look back on this time as the time that she got to have a coffee date with her son every day, which doesn't normally ever happen. But then, you know, we'll spend some of the day together and all that. But then most evenings, we actually kind of do our own separate thing, and I'll often host a Zoom call for my friends because, you know, for families, it's often important to keep in touch with extended family and all that. But as a teenager, you know, I've got friends from high school, university, youth group, all that, and we want to keep talking to each other. So I host Zoom calls and we play games through the computer. Like I'll share my screen, and people can sign in on their phone and kind of contribute funny things to this game, and we'll do it through Zoom, which is really good actually. Being able to still connect to my friends even though we've been separated physically, and I'm very thankful for technology and for social media allowing us to do that.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that was in the news last night, I thought the news was actually did a really good job of covering this sort of surge that we're seeing in our culture at the moment through this COVID-19 and isolation process. And they brought to attention the need to look after our elderly in our community, and how we're doing that, and reminding us that these are valid and important people in our community, and how do we connect? How do we help them in this time? Many of them, like we say, living alone or can't go out and have other people doing the shopping for them. But I thought they did a really good job on the news last night, just reminding us, hey, check on your neighbor. Hey, go and, that elderly couple you see walking past that obviously haven't been walking past, is there a way that you can call them and check in on them? Check out their needs. I thought that was really cool and a really timely reminder that everyone matters, and that that they need support, and they might not be quite as technologically capable as others.
Jordan, I just quickly want to add to that. There's a lot of people who came over from other countries who don't have grandparents here. And we're obviously quite fortunate that we have our grandparents. So I think a lot of people would feel like, they are missing out, and although they can still FaceTime with grandparents in another country, the reality for them is they can't connect with them here. And I think as a challenge is where maybe we can connect with an elderly person in church who we don't normally connect with, but we can just touch base with them or text them. I know that Val, she sends me a recipe every week that I can try out with the kids, and she's not family, but we still keep connected somehow. And I send her photos of the children when they are doing the baking, so that she can feel part of our family, because she is my mentor and I really appreciate her in my life. And so I don't want her to feel isolated or lonely, and want to show that we are here for her, although we can't physically see her. So just small things like that, what we can do to help out.
I think they're huge. Times like this. Did you have something to add, Dee?
No, I was just saying that's true. And I love Val. So we do the same thing. We FaceTime with Val. We did almost like an hour-long FaceTime the other day. And we looked at the cats, and she showed us, all the things that she's been doing. The girls showed her all the things that they've been doing, and so I think it was good for both them and for her, just to see each other and just catch up, see what's going on in each other's lives and stuff. And so it was a fun FaceTime last week. So, and she drops things off to us too, which is also good. Got some guava jelly in the letterbox, which was awesome. Yeah. If you haven't tried guava jelly, you need to try it.
Yeah, that's
just
good.
Eat guavas whole.
Guava jelly is good.
It highlights that importance of connection, and I think some of us forget sometimes, especially the introverts. We forget that we do need to be social too. I'm secretly an introvert, and it is I'm a very relational introvert, but I'm an introvert, and 3 weeks of no people has taken its toll at times. And there's all of us are going to struggle. I know there's been extroverts that have struggled a lot earlier on in this process, and there'll be people that have been struggling this whole shutdown period, and we've seen it in the kids. And I think one of the things as a staff member and as a part of the leadership here at the church, that one of the things I'm most proud of around OBC right now is that when I do call people, and when I do just hear people's stories and call on people, that I'm hearing that they've already been connected with, that there is a phone tree of sorts going on, that their life groups are connecting with them, that their ministry leaders have been connecting with them, or just friends from within the church have been making sure that people are connected with. But this is also a time, I think, where it's really important that we as a church show leadership for our community, that we're going, hey, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Hey, we can. There is hope, and we are working together really well as a nation, but we as a community also need the church to stand up and say, hey, there's hope, and that we can look after one another. It's not a time to be stoic. It's a time to be authentic and to be okay with saying, hey, I am struggling, and if you are struggling, I want to really encourage you, hey, reach out, seek help, call us at the church, or connect with someone. Just be bold and say, I need to talk with someone right now. I need prayer, which we'll share the prayer link later as well, which you can connect with. But there is some other things too, which is just really some real basic tips that we've seen come through. One of them has been routine. Try and maintain a relatively normal routine. Have you guys been doing that? See Dee doing a lot of exercise on her Facebook. Yeah, it's no
we
more.
have, but especially with school starting back. So now there is kind of a more of a routine. So, become the teacher, woohoo! But it's been good to, everything and cook. But yeah, so having that routine back, even though it's not really a normal routine when you go to school, but having that kind of school stuff in there has been good. So just wish it wouldn't rain as much so we could go outside and do our exercises, walking around and stuff.
Yeah, but even some of the routine that you might have when you go to work, maybe 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. or lunchtime, you call one of your colleagues and just check in on them, because that's what you'd normally do, and it brings a little bit of normalcy to your life. We've mentioned exercise and how that can play a role, and even I took part in the press-ups and the 100 burpees challenge. I did. Just sad. Don't go looking for it on Facebook. But it is out there in the wilderness, and I'm really sore now. But these are just some tips to connect. Equip mental health services based out of Windsor Park Baptist have put out some amazing material and some encouragements and some stuff for everybody who might need it right now. And so some of the resources that they're recommending at the moment, one of them is Mentormere, which is Sir John Kerwin's app, which you can get on the Google, the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you can get this app, and it helps. It tracks your mental health, and it caters it to who you are, the individual that you are, and tries to help you in walking through this journey. It also helps assess where you are, which sometimes we don't understand where exactly we are. We're feeling funny feelings. What does that mean? Am I this? Am I that? Am I anxious? Am I, what's going on? This app can help with that. There's another one called Melon. Melon is a great online tool for coping with the emotional, to cope with your emotional needs. And it connects you with people. It helps with journaling and things like that. And yeah, it's just got a bunch of really cool tools for coping through this time. Another one is the Staying on Track e-therapy course, which is, again, it's a tool that helps you with coping with the stress and the disruption that is in your day-to-day lives, or your regular day-to-day lives. So all of these, I will share the links below. And then, of course, there's the mental health line. If you need to talk with someone, if there's something going on, you can talk to a counsellor by calling or texting 1737, and that's through the Ministry of Health. I want to say thank you for joining us this morning. I want to say thank you, team, for joining us again here on Where's God on Mondays. I hope it's been encouraging that we as a church journey through this, and we do want to encourage that God is greater, that God is bigger, and that we can still relish in the fullness of Christ, even in these times. And no matter where our minds might wander, God is greater, and we can rejoice in the knowledge that God is for us. Dee, would you close for us?
Yeah. Yes, I will.
In prayer. Thank you.
God, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you that we are here today and that we are alive and we are thriving through this time. God, I ask that you will be with every single one of us, those that are online watching now and those that will watch later. God, I ask that you will come into our lives, that you will come into our mind space, God, that you will give us clarity of mind. And I pray that you will help us if we're feeling anxious or worried or lonely. God, I ask that you will just come into our lives, God. Open up our eyes and our minds to you, God. And our ears that you have to say to us during this time, God. We thank you so much. We thank you for our children. We thank you for our youth. We thank you for our whole congregation, God. And we ask that you will bless them today and that you'll bless this time that they have in their bubbles for however much longer we have, God. So we ask that you will be with us and that you will continue to help us to grow during this time, God. We love you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dee. Yes, and just a reminder, don't forget to send in your stories. We want to hear what is going on, what is God doing in your life through this time here on Where's God on Mondays. God is active every day of the week in all of our lives. So stories at oruabaptist.org.nz. Let's hear some of your testimonies. Let's hear what God is doing. And of course, if you need prayer, don't forget to flick that in at prayer@oruabaptist.org.nz. www.ecc.org.nz. We will see you next Monday. Until then, ka kite anō. Thank you for joining
Bye,
us. See you
guys.
later.
Thank you. Bye.